This will be the number 24 in the odds and ends hitting this series. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to fix a mistake that I made, I should say. I forgot to drill these holes in here before I put that curve in there. And I got ahead of myself. So now I've got a little problem because the drill has got to go in on a curved surface or on this curved surface, and it'll wander. So in order to cure that, I'm doing two things. One, I'm cutting down the diameter of the slide piece a little bit. And that doesn't matter, it's only a spring tightener, and it just has to slide in and out and lock in place. So I'm going to use 150 instead of 187 diameter, and I'm going to put a hole in there, and it can be a little off of that edge now, and the drill won't wander, it'll go in straight. So we'll show you that. So I've got the line on here, and that's up half the thickness of the rod that I'm putting in there, plus another 40 thousandths, so that I've got a little, in other words, this will be 40 thousandths thick when I put the groove in there. So now I'm going to mark it for the center, which is 125, and we're going to get a prick punch mark, and as you can see, maybe it's off of that curve now, so it won't bother. Want to work that one over a little bit. I missed it. Okay, there it is. Now I'm going to put this in the milling machine and drill those in the milling machine. Okay. It looks like it. There's one. See how close that is to here, even in a 150 drill. But that made it easier to drill. It didn't try to wander off on going downhill. Now, these both get drilled on the same side. You think that they're opposite, but they're not. Let me get the two that are done. The mistake that I did, because what happens is this one goes this way, and that one goes that way, and there's a little stud here that the spring hooks to on the other side, so you got a stud here and a stud here, and that's the two springs. So if you drill them on opposite sides, that's not going to work. You've got to drill them on the same side, so they're exactly alike. Now this is a number 24 drill. Okay, while that's still centered, what I'm going to do is switch over from the chuck to an end mill and just flip this sideways thusly and it's still centered, so that I can just go right across there with the end mill and it'll be right. It doesn't really have to be square this time, just square by eye so that I can see it. Actually, I can just square it by that arm. Okay, let's get this out. Now the size of this end mill really doesn't matter. It's got to be fairly narrow. This is a 3/32 end mill. That works pretty good. But it's just a groove. It's got to be wide enough to get the bolt that you're going to use through there. And you don't want to go as wide as this, obviously. That would be too wide. That's just going to slide in there like that, and I'm going to have a slot right down through here. 3/4. only taking about 10 thousandths at a time, because that's a small end mill and I can't really feel the pressure against it. I'm only going through 40 thousandths here, so the next one I can go all the way through. So that's just going to have a short piece in there about this long, and we're going to put a screw in it that goes all the way through so it jams it in there, and then you can adjust it back and forth to tighten the spring. Now this is the second one. And there it is. Number 2. Drill and tap this for the bolt right smack in the middle. And you know, drilling that, I've showed you this before with the little jig. I got to make a jig to fit this particular material, so I'll show you how I do it. All I do is take a piece of material. This happens to be cast iron. I got a lot of little blocks of cast iron, so I'm using that. And I'm going to draw a line on it. Doesn't matter exactly where it is, but I want it right about there. So I'm going to go that way and this way. So you see, lines are exactly intersected. So now I'm going to drill the big hole through this way and the small hole through that way. So I'm only going to prick punch one side, and I'm going to set the milling machine to do this. And so when I turn the part and center drill it, it's going to be in exactly the same place. We got to square this. I got to get a small parallel and put underneath it. Fine. Okay, I'm going to center drill this first. And this is going to be the small hole. Now I'm going to set a stop up over here so that I can put this back in exactly the same spot. And this stop is just a magnetic stop that I made. And I just got to adjust it with a Allen screw. So now I can put that back in there exactly the same place, because I've got to flip it up this way and put it in. But this won't move. So now I'm going to check, see what size hole I want to put in there. So I want a tap drill. I think a number 1 bolt. You're going to use a number 2 because you see it'll fit in there nicely and this plenty strong. I'll use a number 2. So the tap drill is a number 51 drill for a 256 bolt. And I'm just going to go down there deep enough to hit the hole. So that's going to be my tap hole. Now I have to flip it this way and put in the big hole. Now I got to put the stop back on here. Now this hasn't changed, so it's going to be in the same place. As you can see, that hits exactly right. Now, which drill did I drill? I drilled it there. So I got to flip it this way. Put it in. Lock it. Now we'll center drill that and then drill the big hole. Now we're going to just run that tap drill through the part and see if it's right. Now see, I can put this in there and adjust it anywhere I want it and put a hole right through the center of it without any hassle. If those holes intersect right, it should be perfectly in the center. So I want one that's right about there. As you can see, that hole is precisely in the middle. I want to get this in the vise exactly right, so I'm going to put the drill back in there, run it down into the vise, and tighten the vise, hopefully, if I unloosen it enough. Lock this. Got to get that level. Now that's exactly straight. Now we're going to tap it. Just going to start a 256 screw in there. There it is. Yeah, there it goes. And when you tighten that up, it's going to stay in its same position. Let me get over here and get a wrench. So you see, if you tighten that up, I got to get a little bit, no, that's just about right for the screw, for the spring. You see, you can't pull that now. And what you can do is adjust the spring tension by just moving this back and forth. And you can put more holes in it than one if you want, because sometimes you don't want to have it sticking out like that on the governor. So you would move the hole up to here and just saw that piece off. I usually put the hole about there, cut these off flush. Then if you turn it around, you can get almost all ranges without it sticking out too much. So that's it. That's all there is to that.
Awesome.
You just have to tighten up two of them. I don't know if we can prop this up so they can see it or not, but.
Okay.
But you can see that doesn't have to move very far. I think it's, as you can see that's all it's got to move. Okay, so you want to put your cam, this is the cam lobe. You want to put the cam lobe all the way down so that the valve would be totally open. Like this. Can you see that, Jim?
Yes.
I can't get out of the way here. I don't know.
You're fine.
Yeah, easier. Now there's the cam lobe here. This is the cam lobe and it's down. So that only comes up to here. Now when it's running, it never goes any lower than that because the cam pushes it down and it stays there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off right there. And if it's too long still, I'm going to grind it a little bit. Let's take that and cut it off. Long is no good. A little too short doesn't matter. But try to get this pin back in here. Okay, so if that's up there, see if I can turn this. Hold it with my hand. You can see that's going to go up there, and it clears the thing. And then when the governor kicks in, this comes around. Hopefully, oh, I got to go a lot further than that because it's 2 to 1. Okay, here we go. The cam's going up. And you can see that can kick in now and hold it. Now you might have to make some adjustment here. That would just hold it. So if I take the cam out of there, you see it's held. And that's the way the engine works. But this here has to be in further. Yeah, I'll have to adjust a little bit more, but that should engage just a little bit more. So this has to come out just a hair. And that's all to do it. That's the way it works. The next thing we have to have is an ignition system. And I use the Hall effect ignition. And because once in a while these things fail, you don't want to solder that on 3 wires and wire it all in and make it tight. I use these Futaba plugs, and you can plug it right in there, and it seems to stay all right. And this is an adjustment for the timing. I usually put this cute little wooden handle on here to make it look nice. Makes it look old. And you just see, as this goes around, it'll change the timing. And this is the magnet on this disc. So the disc is going around with the engine. This is what you call waste fire ignition. It fires on the exhaust stroke too, but that doesn't matter. It just wastes the battery a little bit, but it's so minor that it doesn't matter. But this is how this works. So this is the part I'm going to show you next. How to make this. What I'm going to start with is this ring. And what I've done is taken a piece of 3/4 inch stock and bored the inside of it so that it just fits onto the flywheel. No, actually it's onto the main bearing, and it'll rotate. So this is the piece I'm going to start with, and that's exactly 5/16 wide. Put that in the chuck. Just going to part this off at 5/16. We're going to go about 3/12. 1, 2, 3, 12, right there. Okay. I'm going to round that with a file before I take it out of there. Polish it up a little bit so it looks like we did it on purpose. So there's the ring. That's what we start with. The second thing I'm going to do is silver braze this little piece. It's hex stock, and it's got a 440 thread in it already. I had some of this kicking around, and I'm using it up. That's what the handle will screw into. So I'll saw that off and put that aside. What I do for the split is I solder a piece of 1/4 inch on here, and then I run there with a slitting saw and slit it in half. And that will be how it's tightened on there. So I'm just going to cut off a little block here and solder it on, silver braze it on there. So I'm going to use this little jig that I've made up to hold all the parts on. And this is a piece of asbestos so I don't burn it up. So first thing we're going to put down is the ring. And then we have to have this piece, and that's going to have to be up on top of something so it's somewhere centered. Put that way. And this. And one more part. I've got to put a piece of 1/8 by 1/2 inch on there to screw this onto. And I'm going to make it a little smaller this time, and I'm going to offset it some. Now this one I'm going to put a little off center, just so I can get the pickup a little further back. And I'll show you that in a minute, but it's not really important how you put this on there. Just for aesthetics. This is my 1/4 inch. Okay, let's see how that looks. It's off center, that's good. So I'm moving this back. Okay. I'm moving this back. Instead of being centered, it's going to allow me to put the pickup a little further in and not sticking out so far. I got 3 pieces to silver braze on here, and this one has to have the same radius on it that I just did that, so I'm just going to do that real quick like. that should be good. This piece, how can I do this so I can get all four at once? I don't know how to do this. I put that on that side, not on that side. If I put this here, I can't, that isn't gonna work. This has to be 90 degrees from that. That was there, and then this has to go on here. Oh, that'll work right there. Okay. So I have to get clamps on all these pieces. This material that I'm using is just banding material from packages. And it works out pretty good for holding things down, and it's expendable. I need another piece of it to hold this down, and I've got to shim this up a little bit. So I need a, let's see, it works. And this one's going to take another clamp. Okay, where'd you go? I think we got it.
It's here.
What's that?
That's the one that fell.
Oh, that's for underneath the thing there. Yeah, I'll get that. I gotta get some flux on here though first. Okay, that should do it. Then we got flux on here. That gonna look all right?
Looks good.
That good?
Looks good to me. Looks square.
Yep. I will put some little silver solder on there and we'll get it. Okay, put one right up here. Next piece. There. This one's easy. As you can see, the solder ran all the way around it. Now I'm going to cut these pieces off, that one and this one. I actually probably machine that one off. And then I'm going to slit this. And if I could turn that over, it's still pretty hot. I think we should see that the solder is penetrated all the way through, hopefully. Didn't solder, yeah, you can see all those joints are beautiful. What I have to do now is I want to mill this block down. This is a little long, and I leave it long so I have something to put the spring on to hold it down. And now I'm going to mill it down to size. It'll only be about that, almost take half of it off. That looks pretty good for now. I'm going to slit that, put the bolts in it, then if I want to I can take a little more out of it. Cut right through the middle of that and get the collet change. it is. I'm going to clean that up a little bit and drill and tap it. Now I'm going to drill the tap hole through all the way after I center drill it. And I'm just going to eyeball this thing. I'm not going to put it up on the height gauge just to get that hole in there. If it's off a little, it won't matter. Still going to tighten it. I'm going to go right there. So I'm using a number 2 bolt on this. So it's number 51 drill. And drill all the way through. And then I'll open up the clearance hole afterwards. Now I'll open up the top for the clearance hole. Number 43 drill. 43. That'll give me a few thousandths clearance. I think that was it. That's 12L14. It should go in there pretty easy. Yep, it did. Okay, there it is. It's all tapped. Now I got to make the little wooden handle that goes in here. I'll show you how to do that too. That's pretty easy. Just take an old piece of mahogany. This was part of somebody's mahogany decking, I think. I picked out of the dumpster at the local dump. It was in the wood pile. I'm going to put this square piece in the 3-jaw chuck. You say that don't work? Sure it does. Works fine. Just a little more. Another 10 or 12 thousandths and I got it. Now I'm going to drill a 1/8 hole into it so I can mount the thing in a little fixture to finish turning it. I'll show you that in a minute. Hopefully that goes in there somewhere near straight. So follow the grain a little bit, so it might be a little crooked, but it won't matter too much. There. Now we'll part that off. So next what I got to do is take this 1-inch 440 bolt and epoxy it in there, and you see there's just enough thread sticking out here to screw into that little hex piece. But first, before I put that in there, I'm going to take the head off of this a little bit with the file. Oh, now I dropped it. I'm going to put in this little fixture, and this is just tapped 440, so I can put that right in there and then put that in the 3-jaw chuck, because this is a hexagonal. And that should run somewhere near true, hopefully. Right there. Let's see if it runs true. Close enough. Now this end is going to be quite small, so it doesn't matter. If this end is somewhere near true, we're good. Now I got to get a coarser file. I got to take quite a bit off that inside. You can see it's starting to take shape there. You see that starting to take shape. Take a little sandpaper on there. 120 grit on a piece of wood. That looks pretty good. A little epoxy on there, but that's not going to hurt anything. Let's smooth that up with a finer grit. There's your handle. All I do is take this and unscrew it a little bit and dip it right in the jar of varnish. Just dip that in the varnish up to here and then let it dry overnight. Do 2 coats and that'll be finished. How about if I put my hand behind it? So this is just a piece of phenolic, and I've milled it down to 3/16 thick and put a 5/16 slot in it. And the reason the slot's there is to hold that Futaba plug so I can stick the pickup into it. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut this off approximately here. I'll put 2 holes in it first to bolt it down, and then this will bolt on the other one just like this, except it's back a little bit further, and so I can put shorter leads on the pickup, and that'll be better. So I'm going to mount this with a number 1 bolt. I just got to have 2 holes in there at random. Just an eyeball thing. I'll match that up with the other part, somewhere near center here. Use a 48 drill. That's the clearance hole for the number 1 bolt. That's a 1 there, right down in there. That's nice. Plenty big. Now we'll saw that off. Square it off on the sander. It's a little crooked. So now I'm just going to mount that right on there. And I can actually probably take a little bit more off of this. Doesn't have to be, because the radius of this, the farther you shove that out, the larger radius you can use for your magnet. So this will be right about there. I'm just going to drill this, put 1 drill hole in it and tap it. I'm just going to hold this. This is the same old drill that I just did the clearance hole with. Just going to come down on there. Lock it. Now I'll use the tap drill. What was that, a 54? 172. 172 is a 54. Okay. Now I'm just going to attach this with the bolt and drill the second hole. There it is. If I go back to the clearance drill now, I'll punch that hole there and mark it, and then put in the tap drill and tap it. Put it back in the vise. Now I've marked that hole. I don't have to take that off of there. I can just drill down through with the tap drill, and then I can tap it without even taking it apart, because it's not very deep. I want to force that tap. It's a number one. You can break it off real easy. Okay. Put a bolt in that. Okay, there it is. This is the pickup. See, the pickup will snap right in there. And I can epoxy it in place. And then this disc goes right there, and you can see where it's going to pass. Doesn't matter where it is. You can always, this you can turn around. Doesn't matter where you put it. You adjust the timing later. But that's the way it'll work. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And thank you very much.